Hello. If you're new to this channel, I'm Paige. I am an ultra marathon runner in training, and I'm currently on a journey of going from running 5K races to 50K races with no formal race format in between. And this is a series I'm calling Couch to 50K, because I'm kind of doing that. I started my running journey being able to run on the elliptical for maybe I could do an hour on the elliptical with no resistance, but the moment I hit the treadmill or a road, I could barely go at a light jog for 30 seconds. And I wasn't the most active, I was fairly sedentary. So I've gone from that to being able to do 16 plus mile runs as just a casual evening training run. So I've come a long way, and today I'd like to talk about one of the cornerstones of being able to go from couch, relatively sedentary, no cardio, or very limited cardio, to running a 50K or any other type of ultramarathon. And the cornerstone to that is your habits. You're going to have to change your habits. I'm sorry to say, if you think you can go to the gym once a week and eat the same, do everything the same, except maybe add one or two things, you're not going to be able to run a 50K. You're going to have to change your habits. And it doesn't have to be all at once. And I will give some habits, three habits, in fact, to change, that you're going to have to change. And I'm going to give some tips and how to get going without burning yourself out with your willpower and strength. So, without further ado, let's get into the habit one. First habit, and this one's very obvious. Actually, all of these are kind of obvious, but your exercise. You're going to have to change your exercise habits if you want to go from sedentary couch to running ultra marathons, 50K. And I recommend starting off small. You're eventually going to have to get to the point where you're running 30, 40, 50 miles a week to be ready for the ultra marathons. And you're not going to be able to do that overnight. Trust me, it took about 6 months for me to be able to get my weekly mileage up to 20. And at first, when I was doing that, I was going 1 week on, 1 week off. It took a while. So, start off small. If you're completely sedentary, try just going for a 30-minute walk once or twice a week just to get into the habit of getting up and moving once or twice a week. Because if you're not a fitness person at all, walking might be a challenge. It might be a lot for you to start off, and then slowly maybe try to do short intervals on and off to get that running and build up your cardiovascular strength. So start off small. Don't go all in all at once. Don't try to do too much exercise right away, because you're going to burn yourself out. And over-exercising is unfortunately going to be part of this whole couch to 50K journey. Most ultramarathon runners exercise a crazy amount. I know I do. So, yeah, you're going to have to build it up, build those habits. And also keep in mind, you can't have just running as your exercise habits. Running is key, especially if you're doing a variety of running, treadmill, roads, trails. If you're doing a variety of running exercises, that's fantastic. That'll get you where you need to go. But you can't just run and expect to be able to run an ultramarathon. I would personally recommend different types of cross training, lifting weights, doing strength training, maybe swimming or cycling. Exercises that work different muscles than your typical run will actually really help. It has helped me since I started getting help with my strength training, making progress in the strength training. My running has improved. So yeah, you're gonna have to build up your exercise habits. Start off small, simple walks, and then work your way up. And once you start really running a lot, doing a week on, week off until after a week on, you don't feel sore or injury anymore, because you want to avoid injury. You don't feel sore or pain. Then you can go every week for however long you need to train for. Just slowly start, build yourself up, and let me tell you, it's not a bad thing to take your time. If you're going from sedentary, it could take a year or two to get to the point where you're ready for an ultramarathon. Now, if you're already very physically active, I don't know why you're here, but you might be able to do 6 to 8 weeks of training and be able to run a 50K. But most people are going to need at least 6 months. I would say give it at least a year and a half. That's about how long I've been training for. So, yeah, build up slowly. Don't change too much all at once, and take your time. You're going to have to rewrite your exercise habits. And there's plenty of personal trainers and exercise programs online that you can access. I recommend searching around. I'm not a certified personal trainer, so I can't really give that kind of advice. But I can still say what works for me, which you're exercising. So, habit 2, how you eat. Most people, I'm going to go out on a limb and say most people eat a ton of ultra-processed foods. If you're running an ultramarathon, you're going to have to eat a lot, especially once you get those training volume up. You're going to have to eat a ton of calories. On some of my long run days, I have to eat like 4,000 calories. Keep in mind, I'm a 5 foot tall woman. My basal metabolic rate's, I think, like 1,500, 1,600. So I have to eat like double my calories, and I'll still be in a huge deficit. So, yeah, you're going to have to change your eating habits. And if you're going from couch to 50K and you're overweight, you're going to have to do a slight calorie deficit to lose that weight. Trust me, you'll want to once you get running. But you're going to have to fuel your exercise properly. I'm talking you're going to need enough protein, you're going to need enough fat, and most importantly, you're going to need enough carbs. Endurance athletes need to eat so many carbs. I usually aim for 200 to 300 grams, or milligrams, or whatever. I don't know the exact amount, but I try to eat 200 to 300 on a sedentary day. I try to get more in when I run a lot because carbs are your primary fuel source. Your body burns carbs first when you're exercising. So you want carbs in your diet. You want a lot if you're going to be exercising. You're also going to need a lot of protein to help synthesize your muscles and do that. I usually try to get at least 130 grams, but sometimes I'm short, especially on sedentary days, and sometimes, depending on what I meal prep for the week, I can get 200-300 in. So you want to get a lot of protein and carbs, and you also don't want to forget about fat. Fat is a secondary food source. It has a lot of amino acids, and I actually know a bit about macros because I'm going for my sports nutrition certification. So we just got done with the fat unit, and at about 29% for an endurance athlete of your caloric intake should be coming from dietary fat. Now, you can get all of these by eating Pop-Tarts, cupcakes, and the like, but not all sources of these macros are built the same. The fat from a cutlet of salmon cooked with a little bit of olive oil versus the fat from a McDonald's cheeseburger are not the same. They're going to metabolize differently, they're going to work differently in your body, and you're going to feel different. I recommend getting your macros, and you don't have to do this all at once, but cut back on as much ultra-processed food as possible and replace it with whole food options. And you'll feel better, you'll feel more energy, your body can use that a lot better. It's got micronutrients in it, and it's just all around better. Trust me, I started exercising eating mostly ultra-processed food, and I felt sluggish, I felt heavy, I felt awful. I slowly switched to healthy foods, and my energy levels went right up. I felt better, I felt clearer, and my overall training improved. So you want to eat good, healthy foods. And keep in mind, when you're actually actively running, you need carb sources that are high in carbs, low in fat. They do sell carbohydrates like this. They have running gels, running chews. On my desk I have GU. I also have Stroop waffle that I want to try. I haven't gotten to try them yet, but the reason for that is one has glucose, one has fructose, so 2 different types of sugars can metabolize differently. So I'm going to start experimenting with those on my runs. But, those are ultra processed foods, these 2 snacks I just showed you, but they're primarily sugars and there's very low fat in them, so it has it metabolizes quickly. They are perfect for runs, but no other real situation, so just keep in mind you want to eat as much whole healthy food as possible, and you can eat high calorie stuff like glass of milk. That's like 400 calories depending on how big a glass you drink. I tend to drink large glasses of beverage. I have a glass right here of water. Or, mixed nuts. Those are whole food source high in calories. So you can get the calories you need through whole healthy foods. It just might be a little challenging to plan your meals around your exercise. That's something you'll have to learn. And of course, if you're eating ultra processed junk food, you're gonna have to change slowly. You can't just go cold turkey. Your body is going to be angry. Trust me, just like with the exercise, if you want to change your food habits, just small changes over time. Replace, say you have a bowl of chips or a bowl of ice cream after dinner every night. Replace that with Greek yogurt and fruit, or just a bowl of fruit. Get your sweet treat while also getting fiber and micronutrients. And then maybe you eat out dinner a lot, so to prevent that, you meal prep something healthy, high in protein and carbs, and you freeze it, so that way when you go to eat out, you go, wait, I have something in the freezer, I can just defrost it and eat it. So just make small changes over time, and you'll be surprised how different things will be, given that, over 6 months, small changes do add up. And the final habit, and all these habits are very important. You're going to have to do them all. You can't just pick and choose the ones you like. You'll have to do all 3. And that one is rest and recovery. You're going to be training for 50K or any ultra marathon. You're going to be pushing your body to its limits. You're going to be training a lot. You're going to be overtraining. And you want to make sure you're getting enough rest. I try to plan 1 to 2 rest days a week. Sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on how my schedule works out. But days where I do very little exercise, usually on my rest days, I'll rollerblade or something, assuming the weather is cooperating, or I'll go for a walk. But on my rest days, it's very low volume, very low intensity, and my heart rate barely gets up during this. It's just mostly just activity for activity's sake. And the reason for that is, if you don't rest your body, you are going to increase your risk of injuring yourself. And you don't want injuries. Trust me, I've gotten shin splints twice so far. Not pleasant. It can derail your training for 6 to 8 weeks or more, depending on how severe the injury is. So if you feel if after a workout, or you've trained a certain number of days and you feel fatigued and sore, listen to your body and take the day off. It's okay to not exercise every single day for every single reason, Rest is important, and that includes sleep. Make sure you're getting an appropriate amount of sleep. I know it's hard. We have a lot of things to do. We want to maximize the hours of the day we're productive, but trust me, your body will thank you. Your mind will thank you. Get sleep. Sleep is amazing for recovery. So, yeah, those are the 3 habits, and that one, as all 3, if you want to change your habits, make small, sustainable changes over time, and once those become a permanent habit, change something else, and then change something else. If you do it that way, you're more likely to stick to it, you're more likely to enjoy it, and it might not seem like much, but if you look back a year or 2 after making small changes, your whole life's going to be different. So those are the 3 major habits I believe you're going to have to change if you want to go from sedentary to running a 50K. And I know it seems daunting to change your habits and change your lifestyle and rewrite everything, but it is possible given the proper steps. That's all I have to say on the matter. And you know what? If you backtrack a little bit, try again. The only time you fail at this is when you give up. So, that's all I have to say on the matter. If you made it this far and like my advice for training, or just like the idea of doing something ridiculous, consider subscribing. I'm going to be posting all sorts of health, fitness, and other related content, so look forward to that. And comment down below if any of these changes you would be willing to make to achieve your goal. I've made all 3 changes, so you know. Alright, I'm gonna sign off, and I will catch you guys later.